Yes, my ex is a narcissist. And no, it's not his fault we're divorced. Hi, I'm Leanne and welcome to my channel. I say this with love 33. This is a topic that is coming to me a lot with a lot of people that I know, friends, people that I come in contact with, and this subject keeps being brought to me. So I'm feeling called today to make another video about divorce and the relationship dynamic between a narcissist and perhaps an empath like I am. So I want to bring to your awareness through my wisdom and my knowledge and my life experiences about what I have learned, what I have gained, and how I have gotten through this space in my life and made it over to the other side. So I had made another video before about the divorce and who I was as a person. And yes, I'm divorced. And yes, I am an empath. And yes, my ex is a narcissist. But I now know after my 3.5-4 year journey of healing that me as an empath and him as a narcissist attracted each other. We were on the same energy. So our energies attracted each other. We were in the same wounded space when we met a lot of years ago until the time we were no longer in alignment. So I want to let you know that the journey of being with a narcissist in your relationship is obviously extremely challenging, extremely difficult, takes you to spaces beyond your own identity and things that you couldn't even make up in your mind that are happening in your daily life. For me personally, in my story, I met my husband when I was only 15, and then I got married when I was 20. So when you're 15, you're still basically a kid. So my whole identity and my whole self was basically given to him. And I lost who I was because, to be honest, I never even knew who I was because I was young. And obviously I had a lot of wounds that I was carrying through my first 0 to 15 years of life, as we all are. So unconsciously, we just go about our lives. We grow up in our childhood. We might get married. We might get into a relationship. And then we're carrying all those wounds and all that sediment that's just festering up. And then things might come up. You might get triggered. Situations might arise. And you might feel things, but then you push them back down. And then eventually they're going to just explode like a pot of boiling water. If you don't turn down that heat, it's going to overflow out of that pot. And that's what happened to me. But I didn't know that I was in a narcissistic dynamic relationship until after the fact of me kind of having an awakening and then going on and typing in what's wrong with me, what's wrong with my marriage, my husband doesn't like me, and I, all the things. And I typed in, and then the narcissistic topic came up. So I began to listen to some highly intelligent, wisdom-filled, knowledgeable people, doctors, typical people just like me, putting their stories out into the world. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my life. I thought everything was wrong with me. And then when I heard the word narcissist and understood what that was, I'm like, oh my God, my ex is a narcissist. He's a narcissist and I'm an empath. And this is why things are the way they are. And at that point, I was still the victim and pointing my finger at you're a narcissist and you're this and you're this and you do this and you say this and you're mean and I'm just a poor victim. And it wasn't until, I'm going to say, a couple years into my journey of healing and me opening my heart and my mind to bringing in knowledge and wisdom from others and research and reading and listening and podcasts, that I understood, oh snap, it's not his fault. I'm not a victim. I co-created that relationship with him. and my energy fed off his energy as his energy fed off my energy, and my wounds fed his wounds and his wounds fed my wounds, and we were both teaching each other lessons throughout the entirety of our relationship. Now I know this can sound weird, unbelievable, maybe a little woo-woo, maybe a little bit like, is this girl nuts or what? But I'm telling you, and I say this with love, and this is full truth, you are not the victim, you are the co-creator. And the first time I heard those words, and to be honest, it was from Danny Morell in the seminar of like Awaken Your Highest Self, and I highly recommend that. That is an absolute beautiful tool of healing and self-awareness and realizing like, dang. But when he said those words, you are not the victim, you are the co-creator. And I sat there and I was like, what the F is this guy even talking about? He doesn't know me. He doesn't know my mean ex-husband, or not ex-husband at the time, but we were separated. He doesn't know my circumstances. He doesn't know the hell I live in. He doesn't know all the gaslighting and all the this and the that I have to endure every day because I'm married to this man. And then I went back to my hotel room that night after like an 8-hour day of learning about these things, and that statement just kept going through my mind, like, what does he mean? What does he mean I'm the co-creator? I don't even fucking understand that. And in the night, right before I fell asleep, and I was just thinking and feeling, and then like the aha moment came, and I was like, oh, I get it. I am the co-creator. It's not all him. I participated, I co-created through my wounds that I have now got to fully be aware of and feel into, push into, heal it, and release them. And it's not him fully, it's me too, because nobody's perfect. And there's not one perfect person over here and one imperfect person, and it's all this person's fault. Absolutely not. It's a co-creation. And to be able to say that, accept it, feel it, and take responsibility for it, that's when you can start to heal. Because when you are in the state of like you are just a victim and you have no choice in the matter, and I know this goes deep, and I know why this happens because I was there, I lived that. I was that person for 54 years. And through my state of healing and on my journey, when you can go in deep and heal and release things, you're gonna, if you choose to, be able to open your heart and your mind and your whole universe to understanding why the situation took place and why you are in the state that you're in. And you can choose to stay there and live in fear and guilt and shame, or you can choose to push into it and step into the unknown and just trust. And that's what I chose to do. So throughout the process on my journey of healing, I began yoga, and yoga took me into a deep space of beginning to learn to like myself, learning to love myself, learning to feel and know that I'm not a piece of shit. I do matter. My voice matters. Things that I think matter. And although I had lived a life for the past 40 years with my ex-husband and being told and being brought to the space where, yeah, I'm just like no good, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, I'm fat, I'm stupid, I'm skinny, I'm this, I'm that, it's all my fault, I take the blame, everything's my fault in the world, and it's my responsibility to make everybody happy and not sad, everything is on my shoulders. I learned through yoga, through breath work, through meditation, through mindful moments of going deep within, that is not true. And I can break through those thoughts, those conditioned thoughts and learnings, and begin to peel them and come back to myself. And in my yoga practice, I have been able to do that. And I highly recommend, for if anybody's got anything going on, I'm like, do yoga. Go into yoga. Keep an open mind. Keep an open heart. Meditate. Meditation brought me to a space to go within, and it took me time to figure out how to meditate, because throughout my whole life I was always like up in my head, well, how do I do that? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? I'm probably doing it wrong because I don't know this stuff. And like all this stuff was not part of my life for the first 54 years, because I'm like, I would never do that, and I would never say that, and that's so woo-woo, and that's a sin, and society says we're not allowed to meditate, church says we're not allowed to meditate, so like, I don't know about that. But when I quieted my mind and forgot about all that shit that's been conditioned into us and felt into my own intuition, my gut, my inner self, and listened, I began to empower myself. And through that empowerment and feeling that inner fire being lit up, I started to take small steps, baby steps, to learn who I am. Not even to rebuild who I am, because I didn't even flippin' know who I was, but to learn who I am and to fall in love with me and my choices and who I am unconditionally. And when I got to that space, and it takes time, it's not overnight, there's no magic pill, and I say this with love, and I've said this before, and what I'm offering you and putting out into the world to help the world know that we are all the same, we are all one. Yes, we might have different problems and our path looks different, but we are all here on a journey trying to figure things out and going through some difficult life lessons. We're all the same. No matter the color of our skin, the color of our hair, where we live, what kind of house we live in, the money in our account, we are a human being that is looking for love and trying to figure out life lessons. So I want to say this with love and compassion, because I've been there, I've lived that, I was that person. Find your voice, your inner voice, because your inner voice, which is speaking to you through your gut, through your intuition, and when you feel things like, you come into a space and you might feel nervous and you feel that in your belly like butterflies, that's your body talking to you. And most of the time, most of us push those feelings away, and we're like, just shut up, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm just going to deal with it and everything will be fine. And you know what? It's not going to be fine. Eventually, it's going to bubble up. It's going to come out. You're going to have to heal that, because otherwise it's going to start to make you sick, give you diseases, make you depressed, make you anxious. You're going to feel all the things that the majority of our society are walking around feeling, and you don't know why. And throughout my marriage, and being with my ex for 40 years, growing up with him, and then creating a family, and there's a lot of beautiful times, and there is a lot of dark, toxic times. And like in life, everything has polarity, and finding that balance. So when I first realized that, oh my God, like I am the co-creator of my life, and it's not his fault because he's a narcissist and he said this and he did that and blah, 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 blah. It's me. And when I learned that and I felt that, and I just succumbed to that, and I'm like, okay. A lot of self-reflection each day and throughout the 40 years, and like, dang, I have a lot to heal so that I can fully understand and be my best self. And in my journey of healing, I went into deep breath works, which are absolutely phenomenal, because your breath is life. And if you place one hand on your right hand on your belly and your left hand on your heart, and you're laying down or even sitting up, and you feel the rise and fall of your belly and your heart beating under your left hand, and realizing, like there is nobody here on this earth that can control me, but we give our control. We are conditioned to give our control, especially as women. And you're brought up in most places to be like, you're going to be nice and you're going to give everybody what they want. And then you're going to go to school, and then you're going to find a husband, and you're going to make him happy, and you're going to cook dinners, and you're going to put his robe and his slippers out on his chair. And if he's having a bad day, you just take that on so that you can release his bad day, because he needs to come home and relax because he's been at work all day. And meanwhile, like you're at home cleaning, cooking, taking care of the kids, doing the yard, doing the pets, doing like all the things in the midst of your busy, chaotic life, not even realizing that you're taking everything on. Now, me as a recovered people pleaser. That was part of my issue. And in my journey of healing, understanding and going into the deep breath work and into meditation and feeling into, I am a people pleaser and I have all the traits and characteristics of a people pleaser. And why am I a people pleaser? Let me go back into my past and look into that and heal that. And I did. My inner child, I never even knew what an inner child was, and most of us don't, as that is not looked in society as being like strong and moving forward and just do it. No, that's not something that we are clapped on to like push into. That's like for weak people, right? Or psychotic people. And I say this with love. You go in and heal your inner child, which is that child within you that was traumatized, wounded, hurt, neglected, abused. And at that age that things started to take place, that is where you emotionally stopped thriving and growing. So anytime as an adult something comes up and something triggers in you and you feel that sediment at the bottom of your cup, your belly, like stirring up, and you're like, oh, this just doesn't feel good and I don't know why, but it's okay, I'll just take it. But that inner child in you is like screaming out like, help me, help. Let's fix this. I don't want to do this. This doesn't feel safe. This isn't right for us. But we're like, no, it's okay. I got it. And then, like I said before, then like, it's not okay. And it's going to boil out and you're going to have to deal with that. So going into your inner child and acknowledging what you went through as a child, loving yourself unconditionally, because as children, we just want to be loved and nurtured and hugged and know that everything's safe and okay. And most of us probably didn't have it that way, but we learned how to deal with it. We learned how to cope. And then comes the masks and the numbing of drugs, sex, alcohol, vaping, cigarette, like all the things as we grow older that we're masking because we're not feeling good inside. But, you know, just recently over at Coachella, and Justin Bieber went in and healed his inner child, and I'm seeing so many things on Instagram about it, and it's so beautiful. I literally cry because I'm like, I can feel his healing, and I know it because I experienced it. I did the same thing. And to heal your inner child and all the shit you dealt with, and stoically and proudly and just walked through life and got through life as best as you could, that all you knew how with what you were given, that is so beautiful. And that is so empowering and freeing. And when you go in and heal that inner child and you cry and you release those trapped energies that are buried down inside you at a cellular level, at your subconscious, you will release energetic ties that have been weighing you down. And when you tell yourself as your inner child, like, it's okay, I love you, we're healed, thank you, you did the best that you could, and I've got you. And give yourself a hug and look in the mirror and look in your eyes and tell yourself that you love you for who you are, your imperfectly perfect self, and you have no shame or guilt about anything that took place because everything happened the way that it was supposed to happen, then you're going to be lighter. And that was able to take me, and this is where I was able to go and back and look at my ex during my breathwork session and his inner child. And I know what he went through as a child, and I know the abuse and the trauma that he endured. And it was horrific. The stories that he had told me was horrific. And I was able to release that pointing the finger and you're an asshole and you said this and it's your fault we're getting divorced and breaking up our family that we created and I hate you and all that horrible low vibrational feelings that you have to feel and go through during a grieving process of separation and divorce and loss of what you co-created. Being able to forgive him, and because I know his trauma and his wounded inner child, and he's not in a space to even understand that, acknowledge that, or heal that. And then going even further. So let's go into generational trauma. My ex had parents that were both wounded. Traumatic childhood, traumatic just things that you don't even want to think that people would endure, his mom endured and his dad. And of course, generational trauma, you just pass that down. So, my in-laws passed down their traumas to their children. And then, I married their son and he passed his generational trauma down to my children. And I'm here healing it and breaking that generational trauma. I am the fucking cycle breaker. And I say that with love. And I am passionate about that because no more generational trauma. Question things, ask why you do things, why your family raised you the way they did. Why did your parents do things the way they did? Because their parents did. And then you ask them and then they say their parents did. And it's not healthy and it's not right. And we don't even know why we do things. We're just conditioned. But I'm telling you, because you need to ask questions, push into things. Don't just take everything as a grain of salt because that's the way we do it. And that's what the church says. And that's what politics says. And that's what society says. And that's what social media says. No, if it's not right for you, don't fucking do it. Break the mold, step away. So when I was able to do my breath work, go in and heal my inner child, go in and work and heal that generational trauma and breaking cycles, I was able to understand, you know what? I'm not a victim. I co-created my relationship with my ex and it's not his fault. And I was able to be in my path of healing, finding my strength within through yoga and the other tools that I just talked about. And I was able to build my strength enough to realize and say, like, I'm not happy. This isn't in my best interest anymore. I want a divorce. I love my ex-husband, but I'm not in love. And now I'm learning to love me. And now, 4 years later, here I am. I love me. I respect me. I like me. I accept all my imperfections. We are all perfectly imperfect, and I know things happen for a reason. So if you're in a relationship, in a space where you might be with a narcissist, and I'm going to say, like, that is where I thrive with knowledge and wisdom because I lived that for 40 years. I hear you, I feel you, I get you. And if you're at the beginning of your journey where you might be feeling like, oh, I know it's toxic, but like they're a really good person inside and I know who they really are. But then they come home and gaslight me and tell me this didn't happen or say like really horrific, toxic things. And then you're upset and you cry and you feel like you don't like them anymore, but you have guilt and shame that you could possibly even like step away. That is such a spiral and I feel it and I know it, but breathe. Allow yourself some grace. Do some yoga, do some meditation, listen to your inner self, find your inner strength. I know it might even be impossible to even think about, and I was in that space. And like I said, when I was at the Awaken Your Highest Self event, and he said, you are the co-creator of your life. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. You have no idea what you're talking about. Yes, you are the co-creator. Self-reflect. Push into you because you can't heal anybody else or make anybody else change. The only person you have control over is you. So if you're in a space and you're not happy and you know you're in a bad, toxic relationship, or maybe you're just at the beginning of things and you want to try to make things work out, don't focus on them. Focus on you. Go in and heal you. Fix, heal, self-reflect. Think about going in and touching and loving your inner child, your generational trauma. Learn to love you. Listen to what your body's saying because your body is always speaking to you. And self-reflect. Step inward and don't look outward. And eventually, if you allow, you're going to find your strength and you're going to find more information and more knowledge. Don't listen to everything everybody tells you, even me. What I'm telling you, I know from my own experience and I speak with the truth. And I have nothing but love and compassion because living 40 years in a narcissistic relationship, is pretty tough. And if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. And I'm stronger. I lived through my darkness and now I'm at the light. And so I'm here to offer you your own personal story, your experiences, your knowledge. You're not alone. If you're walking down the street or you go into a restaurant or into a mall or somewhere where there's a whole bunch of people, I guarantee you probably like 98% of the people there are in a wounded space and have not gone inward on their healing journey and don't feel love, joy, and peace. And they're not in a content relationship. That's all they know. So that's where they stay because they don't want to push into it out of fear. But I'm going to make another video about that because I was in that space too. So I'm going to wrap this up today. I do say this with love. I offer you peace and compassion and grace. You have everything you need within you and you have the strength within you. So take that with a grain of salt. Do your self-reflection. I say this with love. Namaste.